What is up, YouTubers, gamers and hobbyists? Welcome to this look at Sinclair programs. This is probably going to be on the memory lane as well. This is the Sinclair programs issue I talked about on one of my shorts not long ago. Now, this is February 1984. 30 programs for the Spectrum and ZX81. Now, I'm not going to go into what Sinclair programs is all about in this episode. It's essentially listed programs for the Spectrum ZX81 and in the early days ZX80 for the Sinclair machines, right? Written by the readers. Now, this is a very special issue for me because I talked about a while ago. I talked about a program I came across in the Sinclair programs when I was a kid. Called Time Machine. It was called Time Machine. I thought it was called Time Machine, or was it called Time Lapse or Time Snatch or whatever it is. It got a misprint in this one, or it got a typo. They got the name wrong in this one as well, so it's listed differently. But anyway, suffice to say, this is the exact, not the very one I had as a child, but the exact copy of the one I had as a child of Sinclair programs with that particular program in it. Now, on here you can see match fishing Jaws, and there's a picture of someone, catching a very big Jaws-like fish there. And this is the kind of thing they used to do in Sinclair programs. It's some incredible artwork. I mean, it's brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant to represent the game that someone, a reader, has typed in. Caterpillar, Fox Hunt, Bug Fever, Jailbreak, and many more. And these are all names of games that are in this magazine. On the back, a Quicksilver advert. It looks like Ant Attack and possibly something else. I'm not sure. But yeah, the Game Lords indeed. And this was 95 pence. So, I look, we've got here. Oh, you can't see it. It's an exclusive offer, ZX81 kit for only £25. Now, they used to do that. Used to have kits that you could build, and yeah, so on. Right, let's open this, and here we go. Right, lovely advertising with the classic art of the 80s here. The Dungeon Master. You can't see that there so well, but there it is. Let your Spectrum be your guide in a totally new dimension in adventures in the true spirit of traditional role-playing games where you design the scenario. I have been a Dungeons and Dragons fan for several years. The package provides excellent entertainment for all fans of the cults and should prove a good introduction to the game. Sinclair user. I mean, they really hyped these games up back then. It was not, none of them were what they really said, but we had our imaginations, guys. But look, contents. Special ZX81 offer on page 7. Right. Beginners section. TARDIS ladder, Fox Hunt. Alphabet chair. Alphabet chart. Tower of Destruction, and then on the Spectrum, Walkie's temperature converter. Then it lists the other ZX81 games and then the other Spectrum games that were sent in that month. Now, program of the month, Time Switch. They call it Time Switch here. And we will come across it at some point. So let's have a look. Again, more typical advertising. Atari was massive back in the 80s. It was huge. Very popular. It was like the name in video games. Atari Soft. Complete your computer. This is stuff to make your Spectrum sound better, I guess. You get all sorts of add-on kits. There you go. Build your own Sinclair ZX81 kit offer. Only £25 plus P&P. So you have to buy all the components and put it together yourself. Some people, that was, kind of part of their hobby. And a lot of people now would do that. Happily, I know several YouTubers that are into that. building and maintaining and fault finding and all that kind of good stuff. Moonlander. Now, was that on the because they're not always correct here. Moonlander, yes, that was the first Spectrum game. So that's a Spectrum game, Moonlander. You could always tell anyway by the type of commands in the program, such as beep. All right, because the ZX81 didn't have sound, so you knew that was going to be a Spectrum game, right? And then it'll tell you about the game. Passenger Rescue. It says, look, Passenger Rescue is written for, but it's called Moonlander there. Yeah, it's referring to it as Passenger Rescue here. It was written for the 60K Spectrum by Steve Brown of Epsom, Surrey. Make a successful landing on the moon and pick up your passenger who awaits rescue. Hit the fuel pods when your supply runs low, but avoid the hostile asteroids as they attempt to sabotage your mission. And that's the game. You typed it in, saved it, boom, you got your game. This was popular. A friend of mine bought this for his ZX81. I specifically recall, because the ZX81 had a flat touch screen keyboard. It was just flat, and that gave it like the press down rubber keys, like the Spectrum, but for the ZX81. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. There's only one thing wrong. This is what it says here. There's only one thing wrong with the ZX81. It's keyboard, or rather, its lack of one. Since it's flat, your fingers don't feel as if there's any response to the pressure put on the keys. I actually liked it. You know? Here's some more of the games. You know, this is a Spectrum game as well by the looks of it, and this one here. Yeah, 16K Spectrum. TARDIS Lander. 1K ZX81 game. As, alright, read this out. As Doctor Who, so you're Doctor Who in this game. That's how cool this was. You are Doctor Who. As Doctor Who, you must use keys 5 and 8 to steer the TARDIS onto the landing pad of your planet. You are approaching. Sorry, I had to look up at the screen. Avoid the stars and planets which appear, or their gravitational field will send you crashing downwards. If you land safely, you will gain 30 extra points and move to the next sheet. That's pretty cool. And here's another 1K ZX81 game called Fox Hunt. Using the cunning of a fox, you have to weave in and out of the descending pack of hounds. As you negotiate one pack, you are met by another pack. The highest score appears at the end of each game, along with the name of the scorer. Use cursor keys 5 to move left and 8 to move right. Beware, you have only one life. Fox Hunt was written for the 1K ZX81 by Adam Evans of East Dereham, Norfolk. Okay. A quick look at this. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. This wouldn't be difficult. You could here. There's the sort of thing where you would give yourself extra lives in the game. Anyway, I'm not going to go through every game, but you get the general idea. Some games were obviously more complex than others. Look at this, Super League. Be a top tactician and watch your team play in the safety of your home. Kind of like a Football Manager type game, which is another whole other episode. Decision Maker. Faced with the daunting prospect of buying a new computer, P. Bayliss of Wilterby, Hull, wrote The Decision Maker for the 16K ZX81. It provides a purely objective way of analysing the pros and cons of various machines on the market. Wow, do you know, I wouldn't have looked twice at that. But nowadays, I would have typed that in to see if it worked. At my age now, right? More typical adverts of the era. I've covered this type of advert before. Upgrade your 16K Spectrum now, so you upgrade it to the 48K. More really cool adverts. Smokestack. Okay, that's a Spectrum game. The aim of Smokestack is to block the car, the computer controls, with the smoke which your car emits. You must also avoid the smoke trail of the other car. Kind of sounds a bit like a snake type game. Find the letter. See, that sounds boring. Find the letter for the 16K ZX81 was written by our banks of Leon C. You have 15 seconds in which to find the letter the computer has selected. A bit like Handman, really, but just with letters. Yeah, it doesn't sound all that fun to me. Bug Fever. That's a Spectrum game. Tell by the word, the command ink. Sheila Britton of Reading, Berkshire, wrote Jaws for her 5-year-old daughter. This is for the 16K ZX81, and it's a simple mathematics program with a shark chasing a fish at the bottom of the screen. If you answer correctly, the fish will escape. Well, that's a bit of a cruel way of trying to learn maths, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, just more advertising here. And here we are. Time slide. This is the bad boy. This took me all weekend to type in to my ZX81. And it looked, as I was typing it, I could see the quality of the program. And this is pure quality here. I thought, this is going to be awesome. All weekend it took me to get this typed in, to find it had bugs. Not one bug, there's about 2 or 3 bugs if I recall, and I believe they sent corrections in future issues of this magazine. But anyway, Keith Bevan, aged 14, of Stevenage, Hart, wrote Timeslide, a 16K ZX81 adventure game. Your time machine crashes in the dim and distant past. To return to your own time, you must repair your craft with trial and error. Make a plan of your environment and collect the objects you think may be of use. The computer will accept direct commands, i.e. verbs following them by nouns. These are take or get, open, look, light, unlock, quit, drop or put, feed, swim, read, insert. The abbreviations for directions are NSEW, north, south, east, west, and D for descend, and C for climb. I will bring up the inventory, and R. I will bring up the inventory, and R repeats the description. Bevan sold his ZX81 recently. This is his final offering before he upgrades to a Spectrum. But I do believe he or someone else put in the corrections for this game. This is class quality programming, especially on the ZX81 time. Look at it. I typed this in. Like I say, I spent all weekend trying to get this right. I so wanted to play it. Time slide. This game here just sounded incredible, and the reason it was programming enough is because of the quality of the programming. It's clearly written by someone that knew how to program. Venusian invasion. Yeah, for all I know, the programmer could be watching this video right now. Sound effect, fire. Look, more adverts. Sometimes you get the old colour page thrown in here for good measure. That was kind of cool. Noughts and crosses. Number flash. See, aged 11. I've got to question sometimes the age. 11 is a little young to be writing that sort of computer program, I think. That's just me. I know I'm cynical. Minor. Right. Minor for the 16K ZX81 was submitted by Philip Tanner of Worley, West Midlands. A lift will take you into the mine where you have to search for gold while avoiding the hazards. On clearing the mine, enter the lift to return to the surface where you will be able to deposit your gold in the bank. Use cursor keys 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I remember typing this one in and it worked. It worked, by Jove, you know. They even got to type in the graphics here. It wasn't bad, actually. It wasn't bad at all. Catch a cannibal. Cannonball, not cannibal. Cannonball. Apple Nosh. More adverts. Missile command. Dotty. See, that's... It's using the name of a well-known game already. Dotty. More adverts. Mortar Platoon, Jailbreak, 16K ZX81 game. So, Match Fishing, Caterpillar. I love these type of adverts. I had Flight Simulation on the Select 61. I always wanted it on the Spectrum, but I never got it for the Spectrum. Snooker. Loved snooker at that time. That was snooker's heyday, I think, in the 80s. But the computer games weren't really doing it justice. Bear bother. It's no big deal. Arctic. See, I always thought it was Arctic Computing. But that says Arctic Computing. I always thought it was Arctic because of an Arctic lorry. Or is this like a Mandela effect or something? Sorry, you can't even see that. Arctic, it says. But I thought it was Arctic Computing because of the Arctic lorry underneath. That was a little logo, right? That makes sense. So where's the C? I don't know. Anyway, this is the Sinclair programs that I promised to look at. Thanks ever so much for watching, and I really, really, really mean that. Thank you so much. It means an awful lot to me. And hopefully I will see you on another video. Thanks a lot, and bye for now.